Hello, and welcome to the Shelf Life. We'd recently finished painting the gods in the base game of Ankh Gods of Egypt, so we decided to move on to the monsters, the first being Satet, which we completed in under 45 minutes. And so I thought to myself, why not make this a challenge? Instead of 45 minutes, what if we only had 30? And so no one thinks I'm using paints from the old scheme, I'm going to try a new scheme, this Albino crocodile scheme. We also wanted to see if we could do a quality job with the cheapest paints we could find, which are 50 cents a bottle for these apple barrel paints. So can we do it? Let's find out. We start with 1 part light mocha, 1 part white, and 2 parts water. This means that roughly half of the mix will be water. We're applying this mix to every part of his body except for his stomach, his chest, and his lower neck. Then we'll take a mixture of 1 part white and 1 part water and paint the regions we just mentioned. Before being primed white, the model is gray, so it's a good idea to paint over this with the white so none of that gray shows through. Using the ratios on the left, we'll make a salmon pink color. We'll want to apply this to the edges of the stomach before the white paint dries. This blending technique will make a smooth transition from white to pink to tan. We created a more hot pink to make the transition more interesting, and we'll apply it to the border of his stomach, his chest, and along his lips. The mocha color I used for his skin hasn't quite dried, so I decided to apply it to the stones underneath his hands as well as the wall behind his back. Next I mixed 1 part Game Wash Black Wash with 1 part water. Mixing the wash with water will make a less stark contrast. Adding water allows for the wash to spread easier and further. This also makes your wash last longer, saving you money in the long run. You can see at this point I'm avoiding the pink and white areas. That area has not quite dried. I don't want to apply a wash to it because it will make that paint smear and it'll just be a mess. However, now that it has dried, we're good to go and we can apply the wash to the rest of the body. While the wash continues to dry, I've decided to apply some water to the base around the rocks, careful not to touch his hands, the rocks, or his stomach. Thinning the paint with water allows for the white primer to show through. It almost creates this white cap effect with the water, which we'll add to later. And just like that, half of our time is gone. For the teeth and claws, I'm mixing a 2-to-1 ratio of white and water. We want the teeth and claws to be defined with a thicker paint. Thinning the paint too much will make it pull into the recesses like a wash, and that's the last thing we want right now. This guy's dental hygiene will change in a minute, but for now, he's looking pretty good. Using the same white, I'm going back and highlighting some of the raised edges of the skin. The edges I'm focusing on are the edges that would be normally touched by the sun or some other light source from above. Another technique for highlighting is dry brushing. I'm making a mix without water and wiping most of it off. Then I'm lightly brushing over the head, back, and arms of the model. I use this same technique with white paint to add to the white cap effect of the water. Then I make a thin glaze of blue and add it to the water. Now I'm adding the eyes, and I want this to be precise, so I will not add any water to the mix. I make a mix of half Army Painter light tone and half water, and our friend has insta-gingivitis. This same mix is applied to his claws, the rocks, and the wall behind his back. I make a glaze of 2 parts water and 1 part red, and I'll apply this to his eyes and the surrounding area. Here I'm just adding red from the bottle to his lips to create this bloody effect. I'm quickly running out of time, and we come to the most difficult part of the tutorial. Satet has an intricate pattern of gold on his head and torso, and this extends down his spine as well. And I don't expect to match the design of the artwork perfectly. As long as both sides of my design, left and right, are symmetrical, I'm happy with it. And I'm out of time. This doesn't show in the artwork, but my imagination tells me to pull the gold lines back along his spine on both sides. I would have completed the model in time if I decided not to do this freehand painting, but I decided that it just added a little bit more interest to the model. Well, that finishes our tutorial, and even though I didn't finish in 30 minutes time, I'm happy with how these two models turned out. I wanted to show that regardless of cost and time, it's the technique that matters, and you can paint like this too. So, until next time, thanks for watching.